Welcome to yoga. It's the 2nd of July, 2020. It's a pretty warm and sticky day, but we're going to start off with some standing poses nonetheless. Come to standing with your toes together, your heels slightly apart. Imagine a string coming out the center of the crown of your head, lifting you up, and then it snaps and you can settle back down nice and straight. Your shoulders balanced over your hips balanced over your feet so that you can feel equal weight on the balls of your feet and on your heels. And then your head so nicely balanced over your shoulders. You can easily roll it back, easily roll it forwards or to either side. It's just sitting there exactly centered and comfortable. No effort whatsoever to hold yourself nice and straight. Soften your knees just a little bit so that your pelvic basin can tip. Imagine it's like a bowl and it's holding all of your insides. It shouldn't tip forward so it spills out to the front, shouldn't tip back so it spills out to the back. It should be just nicely balanced, holding all that it contains. Close your eyes. If you want a little bit more balance exercise here, just stand straight. And put your hands on your hips. Separate your feet about hip width apart. We'll come to a related pose called a mountain pose. Inhale, reach your arms up. On the exhale, keep your shoulders strong. Bring your arms down. Engage your armpits, your shoulders, the fronts and backs of your arms. Lift your kneecaps and hold yourself here nice and strong. You're not tense, but you're taut. From here, we're going to inhale, spin our arms back up. Exhale, we're going to come to a halfway fold, hands on shins. Straighten the legs, don't lock the knees. And slowly let your hands slide down your shins. Your back remains nice and flat. When you get to the point where you feel a good stretch, just pause. Tip your tailbone up so that bowl of your pelvis, pour it forward so that the contents come out the front. If there's space in your hamstrings, keep sliding your hands down as you tip that bowl forward. Now, if it's comfortable for you and your blood pressure, release your head, round your back, look at your shins. Keep tilting that pelvic bowl forward. Keep sliding your hands further down. Then inhale, release, soften your knees. Inhale, slowly come up. Looking up again, stretch for the ceiling, lean back gently. As you exhale, bringing your hands down, step your right foot back, turn to the side. We're coming to triangle. Keep tilting and open up. Reach the right arm overhead. This is optional, you can just stay in triangle. Release the left arm and bring it parallel with the right. Keep turning to the side. And inhale, stretch back out to triangle again. Exhale, look down. Inhale, come up. Keep your arms parallel. Now I'm going to step forward and back. You're going to just swivel on your heels and face the back of your room. So now you just do triangle over the right side. And then if you like, reach your right arm overhead. So your left arm overhead, bring your right one to match it, parallel. Then inhale, release that, wind back out to typical triangle. Exhale, look down, release the upper hand, and then step back to the front of your mat. Stand here, take a couple of breaths. When you do rotated triangle, draw the right foot back. It stays, however, hip width away from the left. Left hand on the left hip, right hand reaches up, reach forward, and then bring it to your left shin. Pull your left hip back, then pull both hips back. You want to make sure your hips are square with the front of the mat. That's why we're doing that. And then turn to your left. Your left arm, because it's a little bit easier, we're just going to let it snake across our back. We're not going to reach up for the sky, but keep turning to the left. As your right hand slides down your shin, it might end up on the floor, inside the foot, or outside the foot. Keep pulling that left hip back. Release, bend your front knee or even both knees. Inhale, come up to standing. Step to the front. While I was down there, I saw dark clouds gathering. I hope I managed to record all of this. Step back with your left, right hand on your right hip. Left hand reaches up. Soften that front knee as you fold forward. Keep it and your back safe. And hand on the shin. Right hand in behind your back. Turn to the side. And then bring your left hand down to the floor. Know always that you can bend your knees if you need to. And turn to the side. Pull the right hip back. And release. Bend your knees, come up to standing, release both arms. Step to the front. Shake it out. The humidity is just building. Wow, it's getting darker. All right, you know, we're going to pass on extended triangle. Instead, we're going to do a form of pranayama, which is breath exercise that requires a plank. Yes, we've all, hopefully, done the plank challenge, but to be totally honest, now your core muscles have relaxed and released, and this should be accessible. Going to come to high plank, and here you're going to take a deep inhale. Oh, well, here, I'll just describe it first. So in high plank, take a deep inhale like we do when we're holding our breath, and the inhale keeps on expanding. And then we're going to do a very, very slow push-up. Doesn't matter how far you get, just get down and then push back up. And do that, let's say 2 to 3 times without exhaling, without inhaling. So you're holding your breath full. It's good exercise to strengthen the lungs. So in plank, inhale and hold. Exhale, push back onto your knees and rest. So if your face turned completely red, mine probably turned slightly red. Your face turns completely red, it's because you're holding your breath by blocking it from exiting. You're squeezing your throat, you're squeezing the blood vessels, and pressure is building in your head. If instead you hold the breath by moving the lungs out, by spreading the ribs, by pushing the belly forward, and then keeping the air in by keeping that expansion going, then you're not going to get that red in the face. So we're going to try that again tomorrow. Not today, but we're going to try that one again tomorrow, because it seems tough, it seems silly, it seems, I don't know, but it really is very, very effective. And it can be very useful when you're doing other things where good breathing is necessary, like bicycling, like running, or going upstairs. Gets you in the mind pattern, I guess, of breathing right when you need the energy, when you need to have the oxygen to be able to do what you're doing. Now we're going to come to a twist of sorts. What are you? Good, you're not a tick. Excellent. Left leg long, right leg bends. Bring it across the knee. Try to seat both your sit bones onto the ground. If both sit bones can't sit onto the ground when you now turn, but they can when you're seated like this, then just stay here. Pull that knee across with both hands. Otherwise, if turning works and both sit bones can stay on the ground, take your left hand, put it behind your right knee, and then bring the fingertips down to the floor. The right hand goes behind you, and we just turn to the side. So not to the back, we're turning to the side, but we're trying to line everything up. The left foot, the right knee, the left shoulder, the right shoulder wants to all line up as we look to the right. Breathing here is tough. Find a spot that's available, whether that's the belly, it's probably being squeezed, the ribs are being squeezed, the upper part of the chest is being squeezed, but you got to breathe somewhere. And release. Grab your right knee and squeeze it in and extend. We're going to do the same thing on the left side. Bend the left knee, bring the foot across the side. And again, if you're feeling kind of wobbly, if both sit bones aren't on the ground, stay here and just try to squeeze that knee over. Otherwise, take the right arm, pass it to the left of the left knee, fingertips to the ground, left hand in behind, and then try to line everything up turning your body to the side. And release. Pick up the left knee, squeeze it in, and stretch it out. Lean back, roll your feet in and out. We're going to do a nice easy pose because the next one is going to be a little bit of work again. We don't want to do just work, right? Bring the soles of your feet together, leave them far away from your hips. Rock your hips side by side to open them. Let your knees come down in the direction of the floor. Reach forward, grab your feet, and then just round your back and look at your feet. And aim the crown of your head for your soles. And here it is safe to pull gently with your hands and plant the top of your head on your feet. And inhale, come back up. Sit up nice and straight. Find that natural S-curve of your back again. And spread your heels out as far as they go. If you're on hardwood, you might want to do this with your heels on the mat and your derriere off. Otherwise, just lean forward. You have to use your core here if gravity is not helping enough. And shifting side to side, or even rolling one foot in, the other one out. Going back and forth, sort of sweep side to side. Change the stretch in the hips. Feel free to like sway all the way over to one side and all the way over to the other side. Sometimes just hanging out in a pose is not the way you're going to get farther with it. Sometimes moving through it, just so long as those movements are gentle. Try not to bounce or jerk your way through. Obviously, you can also just lean forward and remain there if you like. Today I'm doing this also in order to generate like a minimum amount of breeze across my face, because the air has now become extremely still. You can see I'm getting to the point where I can reach down, grab my foot, pull myself over. Not neglecting though to pass through the middle and squeeze through the core. And I'm going to hang out here for a moment. I'm going to inhale, sit back up, grab my knees, lift them, tuck my ankles under me, and come briefly to kneeling. From kneeling, I'm going to extend my left foot forward, put my fists on the ground, and slowly walk my right knee back. Now you come as far as works for you and as far as is relatively comfortable. Once you found a spot where you feel a stretch along the front and the back, point your right foot, and then if you like to increase it just a little bit, lift yourself off the ground. Keep that right leg strong, the knee slightly bent. and hold yourself here. And release. Coming out of this gracefully does not exist. Do it however you can, taking care to always do it under control. So we find ourselves in table pose again. Then the right foot comes forward. Extend it so that the leg is almost straight. Fists on the ground. Hitch your left knee back. You feel a stretch in the front and back, and then either stay there or point the back foot and come up. Straighten or almost straighten the right leg, keeping the thigh muscle strong. Intense stretch, also known as the splits. And release. Again, coming out with as much grace as you can muster. Into kneeling for a moment and rest the hips. So that's a stretch for the front of the hip flexor, the front of the thigh, the back. So that's why splits are really very good stretches. They stretch a lot, but also because they stretch a lot, they're complicated and difficult to do. So we don't do them terribly often, but once in a while we want to do those just to sort of challenge ourselves and see how we're going. If you want to do more, obviously feel free to do more splits or to send me a note saying I'd like to do more splits. I'll incorporate more into the practices. We're going to come lying on our stomach. We'll do something nice and easy again for a change. Sphinx pose. Roll your shoulders back, pull your ribs forward. From the bottom of your ribs all the way down to your toes is in contact with the floor. Now bring your knees together. Your left arm crosses the body. Roll to your side so you can grab your right ankle and roll back down into half of a sphinx. So the left arm is pushing into the floor to get the shoulders up. Right shoulder's opening. Right hand is pulling the right foot in towards the hip. Release the right leg, don't let it snap. Come back to normal sphinx for a moment, check in with your lower back. Bring your knees back together, right arm crosses, roll onto your right side so you can grab your left ankle and roll on back. Push into the floor so you're a nice high sphinx. Left arm or left hand pulls that left ankle in towards the hip. And release again, don't let it snap. Now from a sphinx, I'm going to go to cobra, replacing the elbows with the hands. Roll my way up. Remember, the top of the belly button or just under the belly button stays in contact with the floor. Whole pelvic area stays in contact, rolling the shoulders back. Nice arc through the middle and upper back. And release, come down to the ground, roll your hips side to side. You can either repeat that or come to upward facing dog. For that, I push into the ground, lift myself off, draw my hips forward, Roll my shoulders back. Then I'm going to push to downward facing dog. I lift my hips, push back and up. And then come back to kneeling. Cross your ankles. Come to seated. I'll do this next one lying sideways so I can talk to you. Just lie on your back. Put your legs straight up in the air, arms out to the side, rest your head on the ground. If you'd rather have this be more of a relaxing pose, you can reach up, grab the back of your thighs and just stay there. If you want to get a little bit of core, thigh exercise, as well as a nice blood drain from your feet, just lie there and don't hold on to your legs. Now reach up, bend your knees as you need to grab onto your toes. More or less straighten your legs again, and then open them wide. Lead with your elbows so your elbows are pulling down towards the ground. Now bend your knees and bring your knees down to the ground. He's in the direction of the ground. Mine aren't going to get there either. Try to flatten your tailbone against the floor while you're doing this. And then release. Tuck in your knees. Roll side to side. Now we're going to do a bridge pose. I might as well stay here for that. Grab my ankles. Put my feet on the ground. Leave my hands next to my ankles somewhere. With the inhale, I push my knees away. Roll my shoulders under. And then pull my ribs up towards my nose. Try not to let your knees drift apart. They'll have a tendency to do that. As things open, keep rolling your shoulders under. And release. Tuck your knees back into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And then extend for corpse pose. Grab the clock. So I can also do corpse pose. Oh. Slowly bring some feeling back to your fingers and toes, roll them around. Reach overhead, give yourself a big stretch. Squeeze in your knees, tuck your chin into them, roll around. And then roll over onto your right side. I feel the first droplets of rain. The timing is pretty good. Push your way up to seated. Bring your hands together. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me today. Now I think I'm going to take a shower, whether I want to or not, it seems. And yeah, it's starting to pick up. Okay, see you later.